Kalimera, Kalispera, whatever time you're watching, this is Mappa. Welcome, I'm Stel. I've got Thassos. And we have a special guest. We need a token foreigner on this podcast. We need to have him. And we've got him, Kojo from the Three in Midfield podcast. Kojo, welcome to the pod, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. I watch this every now and then when I get the chance, and because of you, I can't watch the games, but I've been keeping up with Omonia's score lines, form, and that. So we'll get to that. I'm good. How you doing?
I was all right until you mentioned Omonia, but no, I'm good. I'm good. What a way to start your day, you fucking hell. What are we under the bus? Jesus. No, I'm good, brother. I'm good. And Thassos, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good as well. You can see, but for people who watch on the YouTube, you can see a little bit tired, but apart from that, doing great.
Under the eyes.
Yeah,
you're an hour ahead in Paris, so we're going to keep it as short and sweet for you, so you can get your 40 winks.
Yeah, try.
Well, for those of you who don't know who Kojo is, Kojo has a very, very outstanding podcast called Free Midfield, does Premier League reviews, interviews. Give them a follow. Kojo, tell them where they can follow you or where they can watch your shows all that, mate.
Yeah, Free Midfield on basically all your socials. That'll be your Twitters and your Instagram, even TikTok for some reason. And then all your audios as well. So your Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and YouTube as well. Free Midfield podcast, where there interviews, like you said, Premier League reviews, and now we're starting to do a lot more analytical things. So yeah, man, we're here and we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
Excellent, mate. Long may it continue. Right, as an Omonia fan, I need to say long may it continue, and I'm talking about Ajax because they look like the only team that can really topple our boil this season. And Ajax went to the Magadio Stadium, also known as You've Got No Fans Arena, and got a 2-0 victory. Thanks to goals from Faraj, who I think should be up there as contender for player of the season, and Pere Bonds. Thassos, pretty shit stadium. Not a bad game for a Friday evening. Good victory for Ajax, which they definitely needed, or AEK Larnaca, as most would address them as.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Spot on with the general overview. Faraj has been top player for Ajax. He's been I can see him getting snapped up by one of Europe's bigger clubs. Well, I mean, look at that goal.
With goals like that, come on.
I love a head kick.
Filthy.
Yeah. The cross was fantastic as well for him to meet it. Yeah, doing very well with that. But yeah, I think he's got to find a new celebration though. Not a fan of the shoo. not a fan. Not a fan. But
well, mate, if he scores goals like that every week, I don't think the fans will care. In all fairness,
no, I don't. No, I think they'll join in with him. Not at the Magario though. You know, obviously don't want to be shaking the stands too much.
No,
that stadium. No. But yeah, doing great. Kind of Olympiacos had a couple of chances in the game as well. A couple of half chances. They even hit the post at one point. I think this is the. There you go. Although
Pirich get a hand to it.
Yeah,
he
got a hand to it as well, but it was given offside in the end. So it is what it is. But yeah, after that, the game kind of dies off a little bit until Ajax's second goal goes in, and that kind of kickstarts the game again. But yeah, Olympiacos on their end, they're not doing very well, are they? They're trying, bless them, but it's just not happening for
so patronising.
No, but it really isn't happening for them. Like they signed that Dumishai on loan, and he came on as a sub last week and won him the game last week, and then he got injured, and he's got injured to the point where they've actually had to go and sign another striker. Yeah. So now they've got another striker on loan. So there's the Perepons goal going in there. But yeah, they've had to sign.
Though, man, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. But sometimes you make your own luck. I could just going for it, and they need to kind of keep up with what's happening around them, especially you've got Abwell and Bafor keep winning, so they need to keep winning as well. But yeah, like you said, a bit fortuitous. The defending isn't great. I mean, you can see that the defenders kind of, as soon as the ball goes in, they lose all their markers. Like it's 3 or 4. There's 3 or 4 free Ajax players in the box, so it's not great.
The thing is, Guerrier slipped, didn't he? Guerrier slipped. Yeah. He would have cut it out, I think.
Yeah, exactly. This is a good chance for Hendricks as well, but it just goes wide. And I think there's a better view of it as well. It's like this far away from the post. There you go. And then you can see it's almost sneaking in, and it just decides not to right at the end. But yeah, that's kind of it, really. Except
how
for
did
it go in?
It bounced off the inside the bar, so you can see it a bit better, a bit slowed down in the replay.
Joel made a good save there. It came off his shin.
Wow.
And he got rid of it. There's our
that reaction save afterwards was really good from him. Kept him in the game. But yeah, Olympiacos really needed the striker, and he got injured. He came in, he got injured. They've got this other guy now that they signed 2 or 3 days ago, Petros Yakumis, who's not as prolific as what Dumishai is, but it's somebody I think that they're going to need to get up front.
Well, of course, mate. I mean, crikey, they're third from bottom at the moment. 1 win in 5. And we were saying when they brought in Sergidis, when they brought him in as head coach, that he'd have to shore him up defensively. And the goals that they've conceded, again, at the weekend, were similar to the goals that they were conceding before he came in, crosses from out wide. But I reiterate what I said before. Most of Ajax Larnaca's goals this season have come from crosses from out wide. And both goals, crosses from out wide. And they overload the box in the second half more often than not. So it don't surprise me that they scored goals like that. It doesn't surprise me that they rode their luck a little bit with those chances. But listen, they're not top because they've been lucky. They've won 4 out of their last 5. Yeah. And it's looking all right for them so far. Kojo, what did you make of that game though, or those highlights that you saw?
I enjoyed the head kick. Firstly, that was a lovely goal. That was a beautiful goal, in my opinion. The defending, on the other hand, it's like watching. Well, from the team that lost Olympiacos, it's like watching 4 Tyrone Mings just all together.
Don't. I'm a Villa fan as well, so don't even. Don't. I'm well known for going after him on.
You guys have never spoken offline. This is amazing.
He's really.
I
really
talk after. What do you think?
I'd rather not talk after.
But you know what? No, you're right, and it looks like they look like they're confident going forward. And to be honest, you create your own luck in football, innit? When you're trying to create chances, if you get the luck of the bounce, that's you because for the second goal, that deflection can go anywhere. But obviously, we're quick to react to the ball. So yeah, it's a deserved win. But that Olympiacos side, I mean, if that's how someone's waking up. If that's how they're defending, then they're gonna be in trouble. I'll be back. 1 second.
No worries, mate. No worries. There you go, daddy duties. You gotta love it, man. You've got to love it.
Yeah.
But yeah. The thing is, mate, I don't know where Olympiacos go from here now, because obviously they started off well with Sergidis. But it's almost as if when you've reached a certain stage of the season, especially in Cyprus, when things aren't going your way, it just escalates. It's like the snowball effect. And I worry for them. But on the flip side, as we're going to discuss later on, Doxa and Agrida are in just as bad form. Next game, especially this one for you, Kojo, you're going to like this one. AEL, I got it right this time. They beat Garmiodis had 2-0 goals from Kevin Miralas and Miliciano. Yeah, Kojo's eyebrows have been raised right there. You can't see him, but his eyebrows are raised.
That's a throwback.
There you go. There you go.
Yep.
Thassos, Garmiodis had a lot of chances first half, and I'm pretty sure that Ogatos, also known as Sofroni, their head coach, will be again having kittens like last week.
Yeah. There's listen, Garmiodis, they come out, they came out all guns blazing, and then kind of as the game went on, they kind of dropped off. But it seems to be, I'd say it seemed to be because they're all bloody 50, 60 years old on that team, so it's probably
they're lowering the average age now. Come on.
No, they are lowering the average age. It's just that, it's obviously it takes some, if you start with the high intensity like they did, then obviously you're gonna kind of drop off as the game goes on, and that's kind of what happened, I think, in both halves. Juris had a few chances as well to kind of get the game going, but in the end, I think it's Miralas goes first.
Oh goodness.
But Isle defensively, they even without not Allison,
Muriel, Allison's brother.
Muriel, without him being in goal, they still managed to kind of keep it fairly solid, which means players like Miralas, if your defense is doing their job properly, players like Miralas can kind of free roam and do the kind of things he did, like score that goal. Very, very cheeky little flick past the goalkeeper. Did a good job there. You see like half the Garmiodis defense kind of put their arms up and be like, "Oh, it's offside, it's offside," and
then
kind of
you see,
and then you see,
yeah.
Well, when it comes up, you'll see in the bottom right hand of the screen, there's 2 Garmiodis players keeping him on side, but not just a little bit on side.
So
I like how they took it to VAR as well to put the lines down. It's like, what the hell was the point? But again, kind of, I got this first goal then, and things kind of kicked off on their side. I was going to talk about Knobloch in Garmiodis' goal.
He wasn't cock blocking, was he?
No. I was going to talk about him being like kind of keeping Garmiodis in the game, and then obviously he does that, and the defense ends up conceding the free kick.
Oh no! Oh
so,
no!
Yeah,
oh, no.
But to not to defend that crappy defending, but there was 2 balls on the pitch in that highlight. I don't know if you want to go back to it or not, but there's
I didn't even notice it myself.
There's 2 balls on the pitch, just so we can see the defending as well. But there we go.
Oh, I didn't even realise that.
Stop the game. Stop the game. But anyway, that back pass was weaker than a pint of Foster's. And then obviously that seemed to have woken Garmiodis up, and they kept attacking down that left hand side. It's like 3 highlights in a row where you've got.
He has to score here, though. He has to score. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you've got 3 highlights in a row where Selutska crosses the ball in to Is it Dumbia?
Koulibaly, I think.
Koulibaly, because he basically had 4 chances, 4 headers, and he missed all of them. But
wait, what? Hold on.
So you thinking that's a penalty?
No, he just jumped.
That's pretty much what it was. That's pretty much what it was. But and then obviously kind of the second goal was an injury. It's an injury time. You'd say maybe they were attacking, but no, it's crap defending, but it's good finish as well. But look again, the defending. Like if you have a look at the line that this defense is playing.
Oh my god! What What is going on here? They're not the same. They're not the same two Muppets that played him on side earlier, right?
This time was the right back. The other side was the left back.
Again, to be fair, it's the 93rd minute, and a lot of these players are 40. They're not. I'm exaggerating.
No, I know.
There's Garmiotis, I think, have got the highest average age of a squad in Europe. Think, or it's like the third. They're like one of the top. Like for teams in the top league in a country, they're like third or first or second or something like that for average age.
Wow.
But obviously that was before they released. I think they released like 2 33-year-olds, and then they've signed. What's this guy's name? Lukili. He's got plenty of experience for a 28-year-old. He's got experience in the Netherlands, Morocco, Germany, Latvia, and Hungary.
Okay.
But I just like, he's got plenty of experience. For me though, I like kind of the pictures that they took to kind of announce him. Like you can show him like iconic, like Tyrion pictures. He's like he's sat in the stand, and you see kind of the broken old knackered chairs around him, and as well they've got the perspex barrier. And they could have at least cleaned the perspex barrier. It's all like got all like water droplets and kind of like gears and stuff that's been splashed on them. It's still on there.
Mate.
And then you've got the column that's kind of in the middle, kind of holding the stand up as well.
Honestly, like they've got no idea. Honestly, this is the thing. They've got no idea whatsoever. And I sit there, I'm thinking, surely, like, you know, when you're doing your digital photographs, you could even Photoshop these things out. I don't understand what. For the love of...
like you see him kind of holding the Garmiotis scarf, and you see like the shape of the roof at the Cypriot, kind of not anywhere else. People don't really know it, but you can like the roof on the Cypriot is quite famous in Cyprus for the shape of it. It's very like boom. It looks like the top of you know, like old factories. It looks like that. And then next to it, you've got like this new building next to it that looks a bit like council housing. It's student housing, but it looks like council housing. So it's stood there like that, and then behind him, it looks like you know, an old industrial estate from the 70s in England.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Oh, mate.
But
this is psychos.
Yeah. So that was one of the things I wanted to bring up. The other one is obviously IL. Kind of, we've been talking about IL quite a lot, Kojo, because I said that they were going to come top because they signed players like Miralas, they signed Berahino, they signed quite a few, like, I can never pronounce his name. They signed Aaron Chibola as well. He was at MK Dons and Villa and places like that. And I said they were going to come top, and they're struggling to get into the top 6, which is a problem in a 14-team league.
Yeah. They sit 8th at the moment, although in their defence, no pun intended, they've got the second best defence in the league. They've only conceded 12 goals this season. So that's probably due to their new head coach. Well, I say new, he's been there a few months now.
Yeah. So players like Miralas and Berahino and players like that are really not doing their job for them. Except obviously,
how many have they scored?
How many league goals have they scored in total? Well, the team itself. 16.
It's 20 games. So we were talking about old players on Garmiotis' side. I've been calling them OAPFC over the season. On IL side, because they've had loads and loads of injuries, they've been actually playing young Cypriots in the team, and I was like, where they like 17 and 18-year-olds kind of starting and coming off the bench. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Because a lot of Cypriot teams, they kind of young Cypriot players don't show up for Cypriot teams, obviously because they're signing players like Mirage and Barahino.
Yeah.
But
Well, they had six Cypriots on the bench.
Yep.
Which is quite impressive. They only had two non-Cypriots, and one of them was Alisson's brother.
Yeah, and then Bandeli was 23 years old, and Ioannou was 17, and they started the game. And then 3 other players. One was 17, the other one was 18, another one was 20, and there was another one. I wasn't able to find any info on him because he didn't even show up on Transfermarkt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're down to the bare bones as well. But it means that you've got these players that are showing up now that they're kind of trying to force their way into the team now because of the injury crisis that they've got going on, which I think is good news.
Well, they need all the luck they can get, but with the way that the table is at the moment, they're not a million miles away from top 6. That being said, Salamina winning games now. I know Apollon lost the weekend, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, but I think it's a little bit too late for them to mount a top 6 charge. But you never know. The way that they've been keeping clean sheets, I think it's 6 clean sheets in the last 7 games. So it's something. It's something.
Yep.
Anyway, let's move on to the next game. And blimey, I thought they were going to give them a good hammering, and it wasn't that much of a battering, in all fairness. But Buffer beat Doxa 3-1. Jairo scoring twice. I think that's his 16th and 17th goals of the season. And a goal from Gane in the second half. It's a Buffer, vintage Buffer, should I say, Thassos. I mean, look, it's what I keep saying about,
as vintage as it can get. But
yeah. I mean, this goal was lovely, but the defending, again, that centre-back, the Finnish centre-back, he was destroyed all night by Jairo. And look, he hasn't got 17 goals or 16 league goals for no reason. I mean, he's not a pace merchant. He can finish. He's got great technical ability. And the intelligence shows and the experience shows. I mean, this guy played for Sheriff. He's got what it takes, clearly. But, mate, it could have been 6 or 7 that game, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could have. It could have. So, I went by a 2-goal margin. Bafo decided to jump in and to say, right, yeah, we can do that as well. So Jairo's on 16 goals in 18 league games he's played. And I think he's like 10th in the race for the Golden Boot. For the European Golden Boot. So there's a whole thing about kind of the league being factored, where it's factored and everything. Yeah. But yeah, he's on 24 points, and he's on the same points as Christopher Nkuku and Jonathan David.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
What's the name of this defender? Because I want to victimize him on my podcast.
Is it Arujo?
What is that? What is that?
No, you're right.
Oyala. Ojala. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
33-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We've also got one back from my mate. Well, I'd say Ernest wants to claim it, but it was an own goal. But I'm sure Ernest will say that.
Yeah, it's an own goal. But yeah.
Against a Champions League winning goalkeeper, mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
They dropped their goalkeeper and they put Olazabal in goal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Took a deflection, though.
They really they had their chances. Look, so it's just they have chances. They always have chances. It just seems to be that kind of like that final bit that does them in. There was a couple of offside decisions in the league beforehand that kind of did them in. A couple of missed opportunities and the like. But yeah, the defending for Doxa, but as well, I just wanted to mention the defending for Baffle is probably what's going to undo any title charge. The two central
which is a
defenders,
surprise, isn't it? Which is a surprise, given we keep saying about them. Once they go a goal ahead, they don't lose.
Yep. But
So
I think it's more to do with how much work the midfield do.
Yeah, true.
Players like Kane, normally he's not a goal scorer. He's normally the one that kind of sits back, tries to get hold of the ball and kind of feeds it on to your more attacking players like your Hestad, Gyro, Semedo, and players like that. But yeah, that Bafos' defense is what's going to be their undoing, if there's anything. Like if they play better teams and they get past that solid central midfield that Bafos got, kind of their central defense especially is there for the taking. I mean, you saw Asante was when he got the chance, he was running rings around him.
Yeah.
So,
well, they get a lot of bodies behind the ball, Buffalo, and I guess that's what makes them so difficult to break down. But a few weeks ago, I was talking about the goalkeeper Antosh and how suspect he is. Alathabal made some good saves against Doxa, and now I'm starting to question the two central defenders. I don't know. I think Berg is obviously looking at reinforcements for the summer from now. I don't think they're going to bring in any players in this window anyway, or any more at least. But at the same time, defenses win titles, as they say. And with the clean sheet record that Abor have, and Ajax scoring goals left, right, and centre, Buffalo really need to keep up the pace. And in all fairness, while they started off the season very, very well, that little drop off in form has it damaged them? Yeah, has it damaged them too much? It was only a draw and a loss. It was nothing it wasn't like a monumental fuck up. And there's obviously a lot more time to go, and they're only 3 points behind Ajax, so we can't say that they're not in contention. I could argue that Zaro picking up another injury might hurt them, but when he was out injured before, it didn't really affect them. When you're looking at Heystad, as you mentioned before, how pivotal he's been in terms of creating opportunities, and the two central midfielders, Name and Gane, have been brilliant. The fullbacks seem to be improving game on game, but again, it's those two central defenders now that are making silly mistakes here and there. Kojo, I want you to tell me your thoughts on Henning Berg's buffer. I mean, obviously you don't watch him week in, week out, and you can only go by what you've seen in these highlights. But we've always said that as a defensive unit, getting bodies behind the ball, Buffalo are great. They're great on the counter-attack. They've got a lot of pace, a lot of creativity. And once they go a goal ahead against clubs, I don't think they've ever lost Thassos. Have they ever lost under Berg since going a goal ahead in games? I can't remember them losing. They've been drawing, but not losing.
No, you put me on the spot. I don't think so.
They've only lost twice this season.
Yeah, and but there are a lot of draws in that, which is why they're third in the top three. So yeah, I don't. It's that those two central defenders, like Vida and Bjaric. Yeah. Those two are a little bit suspect, and I mean, Berg was after a couple of reinforcements in January, but they were both attacking reinforcements. So one of them they signed, and it was a player who was training with them anyway. What was his name?
Bentancur.
Bentancur, yeah, that's the one. Not that one.
No, not the Spurs one. No.
Yeah, and the other one was what's his name? Monia player. Bruno. They were talking about Bruno, weren't they? But that seems to have died down now. No. So, the fact maybe because they're talking about not signing, that people aren't talking about them signing defenders. Maybe your Kvida and your Jaric have decided not gonna bother with trying no more. There's nobody to replace us. Maybe I don't know.
Well, they had Valakari on the bench. Hotskar was on the bench. Abdul Rahimi was on the bench. Players who have played a lot of games this season. I'm guessing that maybe, not that Berg took Doxa for mugs or anything, but I think he felt that with the lineup that he had available, that he could, or the squad he had available in terms of fitness and injury, suspension, etc., the team that he put out was good enough, and he could afford to rest Valakari, because let's get it right, Valakari has been an ever-present for 3-4 seasons now.
Yeah, he's considering his age, he's probably one of the more experienced players in that team as well.
Yeah,
at least for Baffle. But yeah, he joined very, very young. They picked him up. They picked him up from nowhere, basically, and kind of turned him into this player that AEK Athens wanted. I don't know if that's still going to happen with the new contract and everything that he signed. But yeah, Valakari has been doing well. I mean, you've got Name as well, who went to the World Cup. You've got Kane's doing really well as well. You've got a lot. Semedo. Yeah, Semedo. See, as long as he doesn't take shots, it's fantastic. He's a fantastic player. Just keep him away from the goal. Great. It's great. I mean, that run for the second goal, just the perseverance and the power, just blasted through 2 or 3 players. And then, Hespad had the wherewithal to obviously pass it across the goal to Kane, but he had a relatively simple job compared to what Semedo had done on the wing for him beforehand. So, he's a really good player. Just once the ball gets into the penalty box, just step back.
Yeah.
Let somebody else take over.
Go away. It's nothing to do with you. Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
It's an AB conversation. See your way out of it.
All right. So on Doxa's side, there's been a bit of shithousery on Doxa's side. On Monday, they announced that they finished working with Victor Basadre and have hired Gostisa Kaz instead. So Basadre was announced on the 13th of January, which means he was in charge for 10 days. That's 4 more days than the coach before him, which was Lito Vidigal. So since Cher was sacked, I think it was just before Christmas he was sacked, wasn't he? So they had a caretaker manager, then brought in Lito Vidigal, got rid of him within 6 days, brought in this Victor Basadre, and they made a big deal about, we're bringing this guy from Spain, he's going to be really good. 10 days later, get rid of him, and they've got Gostisa Kaz, who was already a coach there between February 2020 and March 21, and then June and December 21. This is Mappa, Rebecca, this is Mappa.
And the thing is, right, I don't see any change in terms of personnel. I don't see any change in terms of system. I feel sorry for Ernest Asante, who was sent back from his loan at AEK to come to this team, and even Sadiq didn't even play. I don't know whether he was suspended or injured, and we keep saying that he's the guy that scores the goals from. Was Benny even playing? I don't even know.
I'll look it up for you, but there's a few players as well. I keep saying, no Sobchak, no party. He seems to do something for them when he's on the pitch, but for some reason over the last 3 or 4 games, he's been on the bench, but he hasn't played. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Whether there's a player power thing going on or what. I don't.
It wouldn't surprise me, man. Benny did play, but he was taken off. He was taken off 65 minutes in. So clearly, whatever instructions he was given, he weren't doing what he was told. But I don't know. I think the only way is down for that club, unfortunately. But anyway. Right, let's move on, man. And oh God, I have to go through this one. Salamina beat Omonia by 2-1. Dora Garay, who I called the other day the Walking Dead, gave Salamina the lead. Gaguli equalised with a lovely finish, and then Thiago became the thorn in our side again for the second time this season, scoring the winner against us. Should have done better, the goalkeeper, but anyway, it is what it is. Thassos, I'm sure you can give a more balanced opinion on this game, because even now, I'm just so deflated from this result, from the performance. We had enough chances to win it. We had enough chances to equalise at the end. I'll let you go for it, mate.
Yeah, I mean, so for the last couple of weeks, I've been going, Omonia, back, baby. This is kind of a bit more like Omonia from earlier this season back. There was a certain amount of drive that wasn't there, at least from my viewing. So obviously these players, they're trying because the professionals, but it just looked like Salamina wanted it more in the end.
Mate, this goal is inexcusable for me. Okay, I love Nemanja, right? You know, I love him, and we message each other from time to time. But as an experienced defender, you can't let him peel off you like that. And look at the header. I mean, it's a great header, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you need to be dealing with that, and letting the left back, letting their right back get forward like that as well. It's inexcusable, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. The one thing, kind of, you call Dorega the Walking Dead, right? But he's been doing that all season, kind of peeling off the defender, kind of at the last moment, waiting for that cross to come in. It's just a lot of the times this season, it's not worked out for him, kind of on the finish side of things. So he seems to get into a good position, and he seems to do that a lot as well. They're kind of like just waiting for the last moment, and then kind of taking a couple of steps back away from the defender. If your scouts are doing their jobs properly, you'd warn the defenders that he was doing that. It just looks like in my ball watching. I don't know what went on there, but yeah. But I mean, he still had a lot of work to do with the header. So we have a good direction on the header from Doregaray. But yeah, the defending was a bit shocking. Kind of. I'm just waiting for the equaliser to come up now, because I want to talk about Bezus. I've been calling him Bezus because Bezus saves and all that.
Come on.
Yeah, that pass, right, for the goal is a really good pass. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I've been on his back. I've been on his back for a few weeks because he hasn't really been performing, and there's the will he stay, will he go? Obviously, the war in Ukraine has upset him quite a lot, which is understandable. But I'll tell you what, he looked like a man possessed the other night, and that's a great reverse ball. And I'll tell you what, Gaguli, who many Omonia fans last season were saying he's not good enough, doesn't get enough goals. Well, that's his 7th of the season. And, for a lad that's 21, 22 years old, coming from the academy. But this goal, Francis, I love Francis. He and I, we have some, 100%. And you know what makes it even worse? The day before, I did a podcast saying that, because he's linked with an MLS club, right? And I said, you know what? Unfortunately, he's always going to be number 2 when Fabiano comes back from his injury. And he's done so well this season, keeping clean sheets. He had that game against United. His value's gone up. And then this happens. I mean, I'm sorry. You can't excuse it. It's bad. It's really bad. And look at Barker as well. He's like, what the fuck, man? Look. Even Barker swings his arms in the air.
I don't know who he's yelling at. The wall is exactly where it should be. He's placed everybody correctly. And then he's just stood. He's just stood in the completely wrong place. So I don't know where that's come from. But yeah, I think there's like a chance at like 95th, 96th minute, where there's if you've got somebody else other than Diskerud on it, I think it's a goal. It's just Mix is a very good player. It's just finishing really isn't his forte.
Well, yeah, but do you know what? Last season, I remember a goal against, I think it was Bayek, where he's gone around the back of the fullback in practically in that same area, and he's volleyed it in from 6 yards out. And he's good at making those diagonal runs or those arching runs. But I think the number one, the pass was a little bit behind him. Yeah. And it looks like he slipped at the last moment. This is the one, isn't it? Yeah, where the Bezos again, lovely ball. And here, look, it looks like it's like he slips on his standing foot.
Yeah,
Kojo's got his head in his hands.
Yeah. No, so yeah. But yeah, I think if your Karim or one of your strikers is on the end of that, that's a goal. But it's just what it is. I just want it, so with Bezos, I think when he starts games, he kind of goes missing. Because I don't think he's the kind of player to do a press or to.
No,
I think he's a player you give the ball to make something happen.
Yeah.
So I think bringing him off the bench to do the stuff that he did during that game is what you need to be using him for. He might not be happy doing that.
But the thing is, we didn't bring him in to be an impact sub. This is the thing. And that's what he's turning out to be. He got the winner against Agrida, the last minute goal. He got the assist. He scored against Doxa at the beginning of the season when he came off the bench. But when you're paying a player like him big wages, because he's on big wage, and with the reputation that he has, having scored for the Ukraine national team, for playing in Belgium, you can't have him coming off the bench to try and change a game for you. He needs to be from the start. And when he is from the start, it needs to be front foot. I still don't think he's grasped the level of football in Cyprus, because a lot of players go out there and they really underestimate it. And they either work their bollocks off to get to a certain level, or they throw it in. And I'm still on the fence with this guy. Really am.
Yeah. Same. He seems to do well when I keep going back to it. He seems to do well when he comes off the bench.
Yeah.
Those last 15, 20 minutes he comes on, it turns the game on its head. The passes, the through balls that are going in. So he's got the vision on him. He's got very good vision, very good intelligence. But I don't know if it's a fitness thing. I don't know if, like you were saying, it's to do with the war in Ukraine. But again, you've got your what's his name, Zinchenko at Arsenal.
Yeah,
he's Ukrainian. He's setting the place alight. Chelsea have just signed that £80 million
Mudryk.
Player as well. These guys are Ukrainians, and they seem to be delivering. So
the only thing I will say in his defense, we don't know where each of these players' families are in Ukraine. Yeah. Some of them might be out of Ukraine. Some of them might be safe. Some of them might be in regions that aren't under threat. Whereas Bezos, his family might be in Donbass, which is constantly being. So I give him the benefit of that for that. But this goes back to what I said before on our pod, on No Choftes, about Omonia's recruitment. If you know that a player is coming from a country that is war-torn, and he may come with psychological or emotional baggage, why just sign them? I know it sounds really unsympathetic and really callous of me to say, but it's a business, man. Football's a business. And the way that things are right now, you can't be forking out 300-400K a year of your budget on players who the heads ain't there. At the same time, though, if he wants to leave because he's not getting enough game time, well, then there's the fact there. Do you know what I mean? I don't blame him. But Thassos, we've been talking about Salamina since the beginning of the season and how this team got promoted, and a lot of people had them down for relegation candidates, and they made some very shrewd signings in the summer. Botiak from Omonia, Thiago, obviously, various other players. And Bursa ball, again, as we call it, it wasn't quite vintage Bursa ball the other night, but they were very, very solid. They started with a 3-4-2-1, and off the ball, it was a 5-4-1, try and break us down, especially when they went a goal up. And, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if the next few days, Bursa is appointed the manager of another club, because I think he's just so good, man, honestly.
He seems to know how to get specifically this group of players going. It's difficult to gauge, isn't it? Because I've been saying they could do top six. They could do top six, and as long as they keep those defenders that they've got, as long as they keep them working as well as they have done, bar a couple of blips here and there, then they can definitely make that top six, especially if Busaididis stays.
They're a point behind Apollon in sixth.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if they get into that top six, those players, not just him, but those players as well, they're going to get stuff written about them. You know, they're going to. They've got there's Chico Bantha and players like that as well, which people are going to really start taking notice of. Avoni as well as another one, the central defender. Let's not talk about bloody real Slim Shady fucking Melissas, but
in goal,
he's all right when he wants to be as well. So, you know, really. I keep saying that they're more surprised. Like we keep talking about Baffo, and people were talking about Ari. We'll look at Ari, Salamina as well. I think has been very surprising because for a team that's just been promoted, they're doing very, very well.
Yep, and they've got a Ghanaian left back, Kojo. Richard Afori. There you go.
I've noticed that you have a lot of Ghanaians playing the Cypriot league. It makes me happy. Because if it's not there, it's either 2 or 3 of them stinking at the Premier League like Baba Rahman, or they're doing okay in Holland, or they're apparently Spanish but turned Ghanaian and score no goals like in Williams. You know, so I'm happy to watch people actually flourishing in a good league. And if I can quickly speak on the money, look, I think you won your last 4 before this game, obviously.
That's
so
right,
you're finding some form, and obviously a performance like that is not exactly what you want. And it's kind of from what obviously, like I said, I'm able to watch the games, but from the results I've been seeing, you have like 1 or 2 games where you play well and you get the result, and then out of nowhere it goes to shit straight away. I don't know if that's a managerial thing or a player's thing. You guys will know better than me, but from what I've seen in terms of videos and everything, they look like a good team and they have good players. So there's something lacking in the consistency. You said about Henningberg, that was a former manager, wasn't he?
Yeah,
you know, he knows how to set up a team defensively as well. He was a good defender when he was playing, so I'm sure he's passed on that sort of defensive knowledge onto the current players that he has at Paphos, isn't it? And you know, with the structure that you get, you said they play counter-attacking football, quick, they're effective. You know, if that's something that was working with this group of players, whether they're much changed or not, the manager's got to find a way to get these players ticking and continue that form, because winning 4 on the bounce and then having a performance like that is not on. It's just not on. That can't run.
Yeah.
And from what you're saying as well, with all these teams competing for the top 6, new teams coming into the league and performing well, you know, if you're not serious, you go from competing for the top 6 to a top 10 or even less. You know, so you know they've got to pick up things quickly.
The thing is, coach, right? With you see this more and more with Cypriot football, and I'm not just using Omoni as the main example. I'm using Apollon that won the title. I'm using Apoel as an example. The majority of the issue doesn't lie with the ability of the players; it's the mentality. And when Ferrara came in at Omoni in October, he said in his first press conference, it's the mentality that needs to change. And this is something that we've been saying about Omoni for a few seasons now. When we go a goal behind, we struggle to get back into games because the mentality ain't right. You know, other clubs like Apoel, they started the season pretty shit. They changed their head coach, and he completely changed the mentality, the thought process, everything. And they're winning games. They've only lost 1 in like 15 or something ridiculous like that. Apollon won the title They changed their manager before the season even started. They brought another guy in. 3 weeks later, he was gone. They brought in another guy. And only now they're starting to pick up form. But again, they lost at the weekend. But yeah, it's all down to mentality, mate. That's effectively what it is. The ability for most squads is there. I'm sure Thassos will agree. You know, most squads are very decent. And, you know, if you look at AL, for example, another perfect example, a team that started the season really poorly, but yet they've kept 6 clean sheets in their last 7. They've only lost 1 in 7, but yet they're still struggling in 8th place. But when you bring in a new head coach that can motivate these players, you see a massive difference. But unfortunately in Cyprus, a lot of coaches don't get the time, as you know now. The Dogs are sacking 4 managers this season. You can't get any consistency, only stability. So, yeah. That's what. Shall we move on to Apoel?
Well, before we do, so a couple of things. So now Salamina got no fans. They had no fans.
Yes, that's right.
Because of what happened a few weeks back. Basically, some fans decided to trash a door in because they weren't happy with referees' decisions. What they didn't know was it was a door to the press office, and there was 2 people from the press stood behind it, and they got injured. So because of the vandalism and the injuries that happened, Nia Salamina got a fan ban, basically. That 1 home game without fans there. There were fans there, but it's like, I think they were only.
There's a rule that says it can be older people and youngsters and their parents. But no, proper ageism, that.
Exactly, right. So that's the one thing I wanted to mention. Another thing was our mate Salali HTTPS
20 percentage
dash 20%. He came off the bench and made his debut for Salamina. And then the last thing that happened, so this is on the Omonia side of things.
I'll bring it up for the
Omonia have been fined for a fan banner, for unsportsmanlike banner unveiled at the away game that they had with Baralini. So, do you want to translate that?
Gustarume Paralimnitses. So Gustarumen is like we like, we love, we fancy Paralimnitses, girls from Paralimni, Kojo. So like if you're from, I don't know, how can you explain it? Like if you're Greek, you're from Greece. If you're from Greece, you're Greek. If you're from Italy, you're Italian. If you're a female from Paralimni, you're a Paralimnitsa. But it says we love or we want these girls. Now, I don't know the full story behind this thing and girls from Paralimni. I don't know if the tagline is that they're a bit loose or they love to party a little bit or they're just known to be really attractive. I don't know. So when I saw this banner, I thought, that's pretty cool. You know, this our fans are the ones that turned up with a banner one time saying we're pissed off, but we're still here, kind of thing.
Yeah. So Omonia, the club, got fined for this. For the fans saying we like a bit of Paralimnidises.
For saying they like women, I don't understand. What?
Oh no, yeah, but like exactly, because I was trying to figure out what other banner it could have been, and I couldn't see another banner that had something, you know, controversial on. The only one I could think of was that one. The only one I could see, because the way the Thassos Marco Stadium in Paralimni set up, it's like it's 4 stands. They're all separate. There's no corners, and
it's like the old Stamford Bridge, Kojo. It's like the old Stamford Bridge, you know, where you had the
So they had the one stand behind the goal. It's open with no roof, and kind of it's kind of set up like that kind of angle. So like you can see everything. So I was there looking like, what could it possibly be except for we like a bit of Paralimnidises, you know.
It don't make no sense, you know. It's like I don't know. It's like Liverpool going to play West Ham and then putting up a banner saying "We love Essex girls." Like, what's the problem?
I mean, hopefully they wouldn't do that, but I mean, yeah.
It's wild, man. It's wild. But see that they throw out bans for the most random things in Cyprus. It's weird. It's just weird. I mean,
was it a heavy fine?
They don't reveal that. They don't reveal that unless the club doesn't pay it on time.
Oh. I like that.
Yeah,
okay.
Basically, if the club doesn't pay it within the time parameters, the next time that they release all the punishments, right down at the bottom, it says like, for instance, I saw the other week, Garmiotissa are going to be deducted 3 points unless they pay the €3,000 fine that they haven't paid within the next 15 days. That kind of thing. And then you're like, oh, so that's how much you got fined, kind of stuff.
I like this league. League.
Oh no, there's another thing coming up. There's another thing coming up in one of the other games that I'm going to bring up for disciplinary purposes. That'll make it go. I don't like this league.
All right, I'll tell you what, let's move on to Apoel then. They beat Agrida, bottom of the table. Agrida 2-0. Agrida didn't turn out to be a pain in the Agridas for Apoel. It's a straightforward victory for them. Goals from Gvilidaya, finally getting on the score sheet in the league for God knows how long. And Donis with the second, although we need to watch his goal very carefully because he actually scored while he was injured.
Yeah.
One-way traffic, that's all right.
Yeah. I mean, Agridas had 0 shots. 0, like not on target. They had 0 shots. It was all Apoel. We talk about Gvilidaya, right? He's gone from having 1 goal in 15 games to 2 goals in 16 now. So
let's go.
Let's go. He's in there. He did score 2 in the cup as well, in midweek last week, and he went full gets buyer mode. Like he took his t-shirt off and started kicking advertising hoardings and yelling at the fans. It was but yeah. I think at one point as well, Gvilidaya hits the bar with a header, hits the post. He's had things like that happen to him all season. Now,
right, this was the penalty.
Yeah.
This was the penalty award. Okay, now at the risk of getting slaughtered by Apoel fans, because this always happens whenever we say something about their club, right? I can see why it was given, but if you're an Agrida player, you must be fuming, man, because I don't think there's much the player could have done. I mean, does it
even touch? So that was going to be my question.
We don't have a reverse angle, unfortunately, to even see. Like, so
yeah.
I don't know, Kojo. What did you make of that, man?
I don't understand. What did he give for a penalty for? Was it supposed to be handball? Where? Where?
Let me bring up again.
Where?
So, I mean, this is what he's seen on his screen as well, right?
Right.
Which made him give the penalty.
Wait, what? No. Nothing's happened. I'm very Nothing's happened. What?
Yeah. Yeah. So I can see. I can see why. Yeah, I can definitely see why people are aggrieved. I've got to apologize to somebody on Twitter because they were going. They said to me about that penalty decision being a bunch of crap. And obviously, I went to go watch it back, and Gvilidaya has been involved in 2 penalty decisions this season against Agrida, and I went and talked about the wrong one. So, So yes, I've got to apologise to Ioannis Karaulis. Sorry, mate. I looked at the wrong penalty decision.
I'm glad you didn't tend to get back in your shell, but
yeah. But yeah. I mean, Kvitaya, he needed a goal. He got the 2 obviously in the cup. He needed a goal in the league. Got it. So here's the second
here's
goal.
the second one where he scored while he's injured. Look at him.
and kind of nobody's celebrating. Like you even see the manager kind of put his head in his hands, like.
But you know what?
There you go.
But when you watch it again, right, you see that when the second defender clatters him, he absolutely clatters him, but he kind of like jogs, he kind of walks,
So
he jogs in.
There you go.
Standing on hot coals, mate. Good finish, though.
Yeah.
Go on, give it to him. Fucking hell, that is dangerous. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he should have got something for that. That should have been a card or something afterwards. So obviously the referee did well to play on, but that should have been a card afterwards. It was like, no. But yeah, that's a problem for Donis because he's got an injury. He's got a record. He's got a record of being injured. Like if he didn't have the injury record that he has, then he would have still been in the Bundesliga. He would have still been playing in Liga. Yeah. But just because of his injuries, it just didn't happen for him. Again, Ephraim comes off for him and he hits the bar. Yeah. So I think that's another thing for Abuel, kind of how well equipped they are for this season, is that players like Ephraim with the experience that they've got can actually just come off the bench and just take off, kind of pick up where the player is replaced left off.
Yeah,
because
you know, you mentioned Kvitaya's goal scoring record. Clearly, that's a concern for Milojevic. Today, they announced the signing of Federico Makeda, a player, Kojo, who you know very, very well from his time at Man United. Now, obviously, he didn't set the Greek league on fire, but he's only 31. He had a pretty decent record, to be fair, at Panathinaikos, like 40 goals in 116 games at a club that really wasn't challenging for anything. He seems to be now the final piece of the jigsaw that Abuel want to mount that title charge or to maintain that title charge, because they're only a point behind Ajax at the moment.
I mean, I guess the reputation he comes with is he's a former Man United, Panathinaikos footballer who has a decent goal record, so they want him to be the guy. Makeda's last stint at his last club was hell. For him, not for me. I mean, me personally, I don't mind, but for him, it was poor. So he's got a lot to prove, but that's a bit of pressure. And it's not that I don't know if he can handle the pressure, but has he been in that sort of situation where he is the final signing and they say, yeah, you're going to be the guy to score the goals to win us the league? I don't know. So for them, I mean, yeah, a big name coming in. That would, I guess, come with pedigree. So they're saying, yep, he's going to come in. But they need to hope that he doesn't have anything close to the last his last tenure in Turkey, because it was a stinker. It was an absolute stinker. But I'm interested to see how he does. I will keep an eye on him, because he's one of the very few players that have like a moment in Premier League history that just go away after and do niche. And I've been kind of keeping an eye on him, see what he's doing. So I'm going to keep an eye on him on this one, because if he has another stinker, I'm going to be on this show laughing with you at the fact that they've paid big money for someone who's done nothing. So, they better hope that he doesn't have a stinker.
Well, the thing is, for Abuel, I guess it's not really a gamble for him, because he's only on loan until the end of the season. But I understand he's on big wages. That being said, Kvitaya is the captain, isn't he, Thasso, when the Crespo is out? So will Makeda start ahead of him? Will he start with him? Will they go 2 up front? There's lots of questions about this one, because clearly Abuel do need another striker. The last fella they had wasn't very good, hence the reason why they released him. in January, and they haven't really had a proven goal scorer since when? Ailton, Manduka.
I'm trying to think back, but yeah,
Sotirio.
Yeah, Sotirio would be Sotirio.
So
they haven't really replaced him over the time. They obviously he's gone and disappeared to Japan now. But yeah, since he left Abuel, there's been a big hole where a striker should be. They
had Joe Garner, they had Nuhu. You know, they've
tried.
Strikers that have stunk the place out.
Yeah.
In all fairness, but then again, what happens to Ilya? Because Ilya came off the bench the other week against Garmiodis and got the winner. He looked very, very good, but at the same time, you know, one game doesn't really.
He's also on loan, so I mean, like if you're gonna bleed, if you're talking about bleeding in youngsters, say he's not their youngster, so he's only there. He's only there to maybe fill up the quotient for Cypriot players. I don't know, but he's not there to go first team. You know, he's there to be there and around. So I only remember Makeda for 2 goals specifically.
One of them in particular against your team.
I was having a really bad day that day, and I was listening to it on the radio. And when he scored, I lost my mind. I was proper like frothing out the mouth and screaming, and I was like, not a good day for me.
You haven't liked mine Tyler since.
But yeah. So there's a couple of things around the game I kind of wanted to mention as well.
Sure.
So one is my feature of the week is the Thassos or Nodi clock.
Oh yes. Do you want to give Kojo a bit of background on this one?
Yeah. So have you heard of Onodi, Kojo, as a player? No. So basically he was third choice goalkeeper at Villa. And he played in the FA Cup against Liverpool when all the Villa players had COVID and they had to put the youth team out. And he did really, really well. But obviously, he wasn't ready for the first team football, at least at Premier League level. So Villa offered him a contract in the summer to kind of stay with them for 2 or 3 seasons. But they were going to loan him out, obviously develop him as a player. And somebody told him that if he leaves, he'll probably get first team football elsewhere. So Agridas have brought him in, and kind of when he joined Agridas, it was like left field, completely left field, because he's gone from Aston Villa to a team that had just got promoted to the first division in Cyprus, and a lot of people were saying they were going to go back down straight away. And his reasoning for it was players like Roland Salai, Attila Jalai, players like that from Hungary as well, like he is, came to Cyprus. And then since then, their careers have skyrocketed. So both the Salai and Jalai have played for Hungary as internationals. Salai, I think, is in the Bundesliga.
So, isn't he in Turkish league?
No, that's Jalai. That's Attila.
Jalai. Yeah.
Salai, I think, is in the Bundesliga.
Didn't he go MLS?
I
can't remember.
I think, but anyway, these players came to Cyprus and kind of elevated their careers, and they've kind of gone on and done well. So he's used them as examples to join.
You're right. Salah's at Freiburg. Sorry.
Yeah. Right. Except he's come to Agridas, and he's third choice goalkeeper. So kind of the first choice goalkeeper, you can understand kind of like the guy that they brought in is very experienced. He's come from Greece. He's done all right for them. He's not been great, but he's done all right for them. Second choice has been an absolute joke.
Calamity.
Castellani. It's been a calamity. I think against Baffoy conceded 5. And 4 of them were absolute, like, Like to the point where we were discussing whether or not somebody bought
We've
him
got
out.
a theory behind that game, though.
Yeah.
We've got a theory.
And but yeah, so Onodi has gone from being third choice Villa keeper to being like, I'm going to play first team football. He's gone to Agridas and he's third choice. So I've got a clock going until he actually gets a game, if he does get a game. So now the clock is at 20 games. Plus cup. I'm not counting the cup games. But yeah. It's not gone well for him.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
How did Dubov's son do? Was he on the bench again? He was on the bench, wasn't he?
I think he was on the bench again.
Just to give Kojo and the new viewers a bit of background here, you got FC Buffalo, who are in third place at the moment, managed by Henningberg. Their owner is a Latvian Russian called Roman Dubov. Now, the team that got promoted, which played Abuel at the weekend, called Agrida, who are also based in Buffalo, they have an owner, but the club is allegedly registered to the same company that Dubov owns. So whenever Buffalo want to take a player from Agrida or vice versa, the transfer usually occurs within moments. There's no questions asked in that respect. Yeah. And also, Roman Dubov's son, who was born in Hastings, if I'm not mistaken, has got a British passport, is on the bench for Agrida. So yeah, no questions asked.
Yeah,
this is Cyprus.
As well, Buffalo have a player who's kind of it comes off the bench a lot for him, and he's actually, I think he's really, really good as well. He's got plenty of assists and a few goals as well. Abdulrahimi,
yeah.
Yeah. He's an Agrida player that Buffalo got on loan.
Okay, I mean, I want to ask a lot of questions, but firstly, the son, is he any good? Like, is he actually? Oh no.
Objectively, no. Maybe he trains well. I don't know.
Okay. Second thing is, the league is very much aware of this happening, right? Or they just turn a blind eye to it because
I think it's more like
bit of both.
There's another person's name on the deeds at Agridas, so in theory everything's above board.
See, you don't go against certain people because of what they've done for a municipality. So Dubov has done a lot for Buffalo, the city, in the sense that there was 2 clubs in Buffalo and they amalgamated, and he's done a lot for the city. He's got involved. I mean, look, Mendieta is on the board at Buffalo. Salgado is on the board at Buffalo. Obviously, Henningberg is there. In fact, Salgado, who's got his own academy in Dubai, Buffalo are taking their under-12s to Dubai to play in this tournament, which has been arranged by Salgado. So there's a lot of politics involved, not just at Buffalo, though, at various clubs in Cyprus. So when something like this happens with this club and that club, it's not like an unwritten rule that you don't talk about it, but it's like, well, whatever, it is what it is. I mean,
it's a talking point. It's exactly It's not like people aren't yelling about it. It's just
that's just how it is.
This is what's
how it is. You know, I mean, let's get it right. There's 7 clubs in Cyprus who are linked to a political party, and there are people that could just move players from various clubs because it's just normal. It's like the Conservatives but board members having stakes at various football clubs, and they just do transfers within each other, and they've got certain agents that deal with certain players. And there's a lot of jiggery pokery going on. I mean, one of the clubs, which we're going to go into just a bit, Apollon, their owner Girzi is good friends with Pini Zahavi. Make of that what you will. Yeah.
Also, the president of the republic is an Apollon fan.
Yes.
But there's elections next month, and I don't think he's not running.
He's not running. No. Yeah. He's not running. No.
So there'll be a new favourite. But yeah,
from the same party.
I mean, there's
Same party.
obviously a lot of corruption, but I'm telling you right now, I'm falling in love with this league more and more. I like it. I like the drama. It's entertainment.
I've got drama for you. So I've got drama for you now that since we've got Abuel and we're talking about Apollon as well. So this past week there was a memorial service for the leader of the Revolutionary Army, not Independence Army, that Cyprus had in the 50s. Is Georgios Rivas, and they had the memorial service for him this week. And the ultras of two right-wing teams, so obviously because they're ultras, they're ultra right-wing, got into street fights during the memorial service. So, bearing in mind that both these teams consider this person to be kind of like the be all and end all for the Enosis movement. In theory, they should be getting along because it's a memorial service for somebody that both teams have the utmost respect for. But for some reason, they all got together and decided to have a street fight. This is Mappa.
This is Mappa. This is Cyprus. Welcome to Cyprus.
Yeah.
Hold on. So this is someone they have a connection to collectively, and they decided to go out in the streets and have an MMA fight.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
I love this place.
Yeah,
sign me up. I'm loving this. This is great.
Yeah.
You know, if Kojo was on the day we were talking about the fights between the Apollon fans
and
IL at the Cypriot when they set the stadium on fire, he'd have been loving it even more.
What episode is that? What episode is that?
I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link later.
Yes, please.
It's when the Anophysis fans decided to start chucking stuff at Knobloch.
And they threw a Molotov cocktail on the pitch.
Yeah, and the referee took the players. Off the pitch. They did the announcement to be like, please stop throwing stuff on the pitch. We're going to come back out and play again. Now, the home team were losing 2-0. And the whole reason they started throwing stuff on the pitch was because they conceded the second goal. So, don't put the players back. Anyway, I'm opening stuff that we've already discussed.
You failed to mention that because the referee cancelled the game, right? The home team were awarded a loss of 3-0. So they could have just carried on playing and got an equal, got one back, but they ended up losing 3-0.
But
and then the original Apollon Isle game, which we spoke about, didn't even take place.
Yeah,
and it's counted as a loss for both teams. So no one gets any points. It's brilliant. I love it. I fucking love it. This is why I love doing this pod, man.
There's always something new, man. There's always something.
Look, in England, all they're worried about is a VAR call. Fucking hell, man. We got
England's boring. England's boring. This is where it's at. England's boring. God.
2 games
somebody
left,
kicked Ramsdale. Ooh.
Yeah, 2 games left. Let's go with Anorthosis. Anorthosis beats Paralimni by a 1-0. A debut goal by Spanish striker Antonin from the spots. Anorthosis still without a head coach, still struggling, but a win against a Paralimni team who are sinking, unfortunately. But today, Thassos, Anorthosis made 2 more signings, if I'm not mistaken. So it's taking their tally up to 4th of January, so they can't sign any more players because that's the rule. I watched bits of this game. It was quite boring in all fairness. I was just waiting for Jason Punchin to get on the pitch because I want to see how well he's going to do with this team anyway. And I guess they deserved the victory. They were all over Paralimni in all fairness.
Yeah. I mean, so kind of chances wise, the possession wise, I don't know what Paralimni were doing with the ball. I think they had more possession when I looked at the stats at the end of this. So I don't know what they were doing with the ball because there's barely any chances for them on this. As well, you were talking about. We talked about quite a bit about the Paralimni striker. What's his name? Vucenovic. Yeah. He doesn't play. He keeps, for some reason, Sacha keeps going up front with Rusha instead, and kind of Rusha does nothing for 66 minutes, and then he brings Vucenovic on. But it's all well and good, but that guy should be starting games, is from what we've seen of him previously. Anyway,
Mike, I just cut you 2 seconds. Did you see Vesco getting angry when they scored? Like, your team has scored. Why are you getting angry? Like, he's always angry.
He's just an angry man. He
was never like that on commentary. He was always wearing like his flat cap. He was always happy.
He's but now he's got a job that I guess he's striving to keep, isn't he? But yeah, there's our offices were all over Paralimni, a lot more than in the cup match. So in the cup match that they played in midweek, but our offices ended up winning in penalties. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, on my end of things, I'm just going to say, he didn't play Waris. Waris is injured, and look, they scored a goal,
and they won.
I mean, as well, kind of, they've made 4 signings. 3 of them are strikers.
Yeah, they signed Guerrero as well, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. Guerrero, Mraz, and Antonin are all strikers, and this Teixeira as well. He looks a solid player. Yeah, I mean, so kind of a lot of their chances as well were from set pieces. A lot of chances were from set pieces, and
what is that?
Oh man!
Oh come on! Oh,
I was waiting for that one after you reacted. I knew this one was coming. But yeah, it might be Teixeira, maybe for him to not shoot as well, like Semedo.
Yeah,
but yeah. There's not a much to say really at this game. Our offices end up winning 1-0. Game was devoid of a lot of individual skill, a lot of endeavour from both teams, kind of working hard to win the ball and then kind of not doing much with it after they get it. So, for instance, there your player should be either you should have made that pass a lot earlier or gone for goal here, and then he decided to go to set up. But anyway,
you know what? I don't think it's okay. It might be too soon for me to say this, but because obviously these players haven't gelled and they haven't played many games together. But given what we saw from Anorthosi against Paralimni, they look very, very aggressive on the counter attack. They don't commit that many bodies forward, but they're very quick on the counter. The only thing is, I will say again, they need to get that defense sorted, because when Xisco Munoz took over, and I keep repeating myself, the first thing he said in the press conference was, we need to go back to basics, keep more clean sheets because we're conceding way too many goals. Okay, they didn't concede against Paralimni, but they got in behind them way too easy. And the thing is, and obviously actually look organized in terms of our back line itself. They had the 4 there. They were all in sync, but it goes back to the ball watching and not tracking runners. So either you move together or, you stay static, and they did neither.
Yeah. I think when Xisco Munoz was in charge as well, I think we talked about it a lot, where the players were just leaving. They weren't getting in anybody's faces. Yeah. They weren't being aggressive enough. Whereas I think the current caretaker manager, because he's not been officially announced as their new manager, he's currently just at a caretaker position. He's made them a bit more aggressive, but they're still kind of holding off a little bit. They're not going into it as much as they should be. It is what it is. They're on their 3rd manager of the season. Whether or not he ends up being a permanent manager, as permanent as a manager can be in Cyprus, is a bit up in the air as well. You know, there's rumours they're looking at other people. Fans want to keep this guy on because he seems to be he knows the club because he's come out from managing the youth team. He's kind of, as you can see, he's a very angry man. So he's keeping the players on the toes. But yeah, I guess wait and see.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame with Anorthosis this week for us, at least entertainment wise, because normally, you know, we get the clown music out, there's circus, there's all kinds of things happening. But yeah, this week has been fairly quiet.
It has.
You guys says Cisco Munoz is the manager. Isn't that the guy that was at Watford? He was. The guy that was at Watford, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was not a nice guy. Okay, it makes sense.
Well, the story with Anorthosis this season, Kojo, is at the start of the season, they brought in a new head coach, Milanic, who spent some time at Leeds United, and they brought in a sporting director for the first time in God knows how long. And the coach was sacked after 3-4 months, and then Cisco Munoz came in. The sporting director was then sacked, so they had no sporting director. In the middle of all of this bullshit that was happening at board level, whatever, because the chairman or the president fell out with, because in Cyprus they've got, it's difficult to explain. You've got the club president, and then you've got what they call the Somadil, which is the association, because with Cypriot teams, they don't just have football teams. They've got basketball, they've got volleyball, etc., etc. And they've got like an association that oversees everything. Well, the head guy of the association fell out with the chairman of the football club. But the guy that was head of the association used to be the president of the football club. And he's also a known politician as well, right? So they were going back and forth. Obviously, results weren't great on the pitch. One of their players, Vada, who's no longer there, he was jumping in the crowd, arguing with fans. He was also going to nightclubs, chatting up birds, getting beaten up by football fans. Yeah, it's another story for another time. In the meantime, Munoz is having disastrous results. He came out after a game saying that they're in the shit and they really need to work hard, and he was apologizing to the fans. The next day he got sacked. So they've been in limbo. Players have been released. They were signing players, Spanish players that Munoz targeted. And then the day after the player joined, Munoz got sacked. So it's a big clusterfuck at the club at the moment. And it's no surprise they're languishing in the bottom half of the table. That being said, the now president has decided to take a step back until the end of the season, and they've appointed someone else as a temporary president. And he works for an investment company. He's like the CEO of an investment company based out in the Balkans, but he's Cypriot himself. And a lot of people seem to like him. And I think, I don't know if Thasso will agree with me, it just seems that maybe he's been brought in just to keep the fans happy, because the ultras are now back, and the ultras have a lot to say, and their opinions matter. And it's the same with most clubs in Cyprus. When the ultras are pissed off, there's problems.
Well, I mean,
the ultras,
I was going to say that's where the Molotov cocktails came in when they were losing 2-0, for instance. They've been doing press statements directed at the chairman to be like, "Get the fuck out! What are you waiting for? Get out!" And things like that. I think at one point, one of the press statements were like kind of wrote all this stuff, and then at the end, it was what was it? It was like we are surprised with the amount of vitriol you're receiving.
Yeah. Even we're surprised how pissed off you've made us and all the shit that we're giving you. Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But to be fair, from what I understand, they're actually all right with the players. They actually feel sorry for the players.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're not getting on the players' backs. It's the shit that's happening upstairs. But there you go. I'll use that phrase again. This is Cyprus. This is Cyprus.
I mean, to add on to the this is Cyprusness of everything that's going on. So I did say Anorthosis, there wasn't a lot that happened. Something did happen. So some ultras after the cup game against Paralimni, where again They beat them on penalties. The day after, the night of the game, they went and vandalized the offices of the Baralmini team. So they've kind of graffitied the place up, and some of the it's general ultra teenager shithead fair kind of stuff. It's like, we can close you whenever you want. Fuck you. One which is not funny for us, but kind of when you directly translate it is a little bit funny. They wrote like "Tele de xilo," which if you directly translate it in English is "Do you want wood?" but but what it means is like wood to beat you with. So do you want beating up? But so it's like,
it's not. Do you want some of this? Is that? Do you want some of this?
Yeah. So the image is there's. I'm guessing Stel probably edit these images in, but there's one photo which is like, it says Teledexilo. So do you want wood? And then underneath it, question gay, and then be careful.
I'm not gonna name the show like 2020 Vision anymore. I'm gonna call it "Do You Want Wood?"
just oh god, I like.
Oh my god.
Oh god, that's yeah.
All right, let's go to the next game. I can't do this. Oh man, this is wild. Okay. All right. So Aris, big spending Aris, beats Apollon in the derby, in the Limassol derby, 3-1, 2 goals by Loni Gogorin from Fiorentina, and Stepinski gave Aris the victory. Apollon pulled on back through an own goal from Borison. He's had a mad 2 weeks, hasn't he? A red card last week and an own goal this week. But I think Apollon will be quite pissed off with the type of goals that they conceded. I mean, don't get me wrong, they created quite a few decent opportunities. But the 2 goals they conceded, especially Gogorin's first, oh my God. Wow. Like, I don't even know where to begin with that, honestly. I really don't know. This goal was disallowed, but you need to see that goal.
The defending. Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I mean, to be fair to Aris, no one could call him boring. They will give you a show regardless of they've
got 4 fans, but entertain all 4 of them in the best way possible.
No, because they actually sold 2,500 tickets for this game.
Sold or gave away?
No, sold. They did like an announcement on Twitter that they sold 2,500 tickets for this game. So there's at least 2,500 fans. But yeah, so the first 5-10 minutes of this game, I mean, it was basically watching season 2 of our division. You know, it was just basically his game. He hit the post. Here's the goal. Here's the goal.
Oh my God. And you know what? It was a hopeful punt upfield. From the left back, and you're thinking centre back, deal with it. I mean, don't let it bounce. They say never let it bounce. And what Jovanovic in goal was doing, I don't have a clue. Like, there is no excuse for this. Don't let it bounce. And when it does bounce, what is the keeper doing?
I keep trying to see if the keeper shouts for it or not.
But he bends ducks. He ducks.
Oh, why is the keeper? Why did he come there? Why? Why is he there?
the keeper saw the bounce, panicked because he thought that his defender weren't going to get to it, and he just runs out.
To be fair, there is like a little push from Kokorin as well. I don't know if that got anything. Like if you watch it back, there's like a little hand that goes on Paybairn's back, but like I don't think it's enough to be like, oh, he pushed me.
No.
But yeah, it's
I'm not having that.
It's I mean the second goal is a nightmare defensively as well for our body.
Yeah, but to be honest, Stepinski's goal, which we're about to see, I think that's more bad luck than anything because of the amount of pinball that went on in the box. But to be fair, Bolon fought back, man. They were doing what they could. It was like the Alamo, like against Anotosi. They were just pinging balls left, right, and centre, but it just weren't happening for them. Addis just struck gold the other night, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, Bileas again, hopeful, and then it just bounces around. But the thing is, right, the players are rushing in, but he's still what's his name? Stepinski's got enough space, enough time and space there to kind of take his time finishing as well. You see him; he kind of stops, changes his position to stroke it into the top bin. You know, it's like so. Yeah, the pinball happens, and then they all just split second, but it gives him enough time to be able to like he stops, changes it. There you go, top bin.
Do you know? I'm not gonna lie, right? I've got a bit of a fetish for things like this because ever since I can remember, I've loved the box nets. You know, like with the goal looks like a box with the way the net is created, and then when he just fires it in the top corner, it's like so satisfying the way that net ripples. I don't know. Maybe it's just a thing. Maybe I'm just a weirdo.
No.
Foot fetishes. I've got a net fetish. You know.
Oh man. Oh, here we go. Some more great defending, but a great setup, a great dummy from Kokorin though. Is when he's on the pitch for Aris, they're a different he's just they go up 3 gears.
I think Bambi has to finish though. He has to finish that though.
Yeah. But just the intelligence that Kokorin has to kind of do what he does. There's not a lot of players in the Cypriot leagues anyway that can do what he does. Borson, I mean, like when you see his reaction, you can tell like he's. I mean, all you can do is laugh. He's in the last 2 or 3 games, right? He's been sent off. Aris conceded 2 goals due to his defensive errors, and then he scores this own goal.
Yeah,
and they keep going back to his reaction, and he's like almost kind of hysterical. It's a great finish.
Well, the thing is there much that he could have done about it? In all fairness?
No, exactly.
No, you know.
But yeah, he's right.
Good work from Jandy. Good work.
Yeah,
good work in all fairness.
Player.
So yeah,
he's a very good player.
What do you think this means for Bolon? Because they've been Jekyll and Hyde, man. They really have been Jekyll and Hyde. I just I'm not too sure what to make of them still. I know they've made a couple of signings in the past few days, but in terms of them for the rest of the season, it's still looking a little bit sticky. I know they're 2 points behind Omonia in 5th place, so it's not that bad. But then when they're looking over their shoulders with Salamin on 31 points and Isle on 28, I don't know, man. I'm not sure.
Yeah, their form kind of picked up a little bit, didn't it? And then you know they've had a couple of results that haven't gone their way. It's these players when the motivation's down, you can see it.
Yeah,
you can see it. Obviously they made signings. They signed Warta, and he's there to kind of inject some magic into the team, which seems to be doing. He seems to be like, especially at the beginning of the game, he was everywhere for him. He was creating chances. He hit the bar. He's been doing okay for them. But on I don't know. I think kind of defensively they're a bit frail. Obviously, Pay Burns' performance this week kind of. But Roberge wasn't playing, so I don't know. Maybe it makes him a bit more solid. I think it goes back. I think it goes back to they've got quality players. They just don't seem to be doing it for them. Now you've got players like Girardi, you've got VAR. Kind of on the other side, VAR seems to pick his performances up.
Yeah.
They're not scoring enough goals. Again, we're talking about them relying on Bitta, and Bitta's a second striker.
Yeah, he came off.
Yeah.
He came off with 15 minutes to go. So
well,
yeah.
The worrying thing for them as well is that Jovanovic, the central defender, he's now out for 6 to 8 months with an ACL tear.
Was that done during the game then?
Yeah,
because I know he came off. Yeah,
it was during the game. So he's
a big loss. He's going to be a big loss for him. But I guess it gives Ahmad the chance to get back into the team, because he's someone that we were saying weeks ago that where's he gone? What's happened to him? He's fallen out of favour so much. So perhaps this is his opportunity. But when you look at Apollon's fixtures, they've got, I'd say, 3 winnable games out of 4. They've got Olympiacos, then Apoel, Karmiotissa, and Agrita. Then it's AEK and AEL. So, yeah.
If the AEL game happens, yeah.
Yes. Well, listen, the cup game happened at that stadium, albeit we saw a bit of a riot at halftime.
Yeah, halftime entertainment. But yeah. So I don't know. Top 6 is looking a bit shaky for them. They really, if they can get 9 points from those 12 from those 4 games that you talked about, then they'll be in the driving seat.
Yes, but they need results to go their way as well, especially with Omonia and Aris. I mean, to be honest, they're only 5 points behind Aris. If you really think about it, isn't that much? See, the thing is, I can't turn around and say with this league that people are running away with things, because I'm putting my Omonia sunglasses on again. I want to put things into perspective. There's a lot of football left to play, right? And we're 3 points behind Aris, who are on 37 points. Aris are only, 7 points behind Buffon? If results go Aris's way this weekend, they're back in the mix again. Mm-hmm. But then again, if results go against them, I mean, they could be sliding down the table. That this is how close this league is. I mean, let me bring up the table, Thasso, because I think we've
we've done the matches. Yeah,
we've done the matches. Yeah, so let's bring up the table, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. When you look at it and take things into perspective, right? You've got AEK top on 47, Apoel second on 46, and then Buffon in third. So we can safely say that those 3 teams are the main contenders for the title. Yeah, but then places 4, 5, and 6 is looking very tasty. You've got AEL on 28 points in 8th, and they're only 4 points behind Apollon, and they still need to play each other. By the time that game rolls around, the table could look completely different for those teams around that area. Now, Salamina obviously beat Omonia. Their goal difference isn't great, but another win and a loss for Apollon, or a draw for Apollon against Olympiacos, and again, so I must admit, man, I'm very excited with this league campaign. All right, the bottom 4 teams, we know they're going to be fighting for survival, but even still, it's close. It's fucking close, man.
Yeah, no, completely agree. it's the league is kind of splitting off into like 3 areas of interest, isn't it? I mean, you've got the top 3 split by 3 points. Then you've got from 4 to 8, you've got 9 points between them.
Yeah.
And kind of look at the amount of draws that Aris have had, because defeat wise, they've got the same number of defeats as Ajax.
Yeah.
But those draws kind of derailed their season a little bit.
Yeah. Well, they've lost 5 matches less than Omonia, and yet they're only 3 points ahead and only 2 goals better off from a conceded thing. I mean, the goal difference of 5 goals ahead, but that could change, in one game,
Yeah, exactly. So it's really, it's really going to be tight. I think it'd be an outside chance, but if they keep up with the defending as they have done over the course of the season so far, then you can't discount them. I think it's a bit too late for Anorthosis. They're 10 points behind sixth place. They've got 6 games left. You could argue, until it's mathematically impossible, you should be striving for a team of Anorthosis stature.
They need to win every game, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
They need to. That's 18 points to play for, and I don't know, being 10 points behind. Look, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
But looking at the rest, the teams above, there's no doubt that Omonia, Aris, Buffo, Abo, Ajax, even Apollon will kick on. So yeah, I think that they're resigned to a Group B. But what I will say, and I'm sure you may have seen it on No Chuffers I did the other day, it wouldn't surprise me if Anorthosis actually going to win the cup. Because similarly to Omonia last season, we had Group B to focus on. We weren't going to go down. Anorthosis ain't going to go down. This isn't me doing a reverse psychology or reverse Bach, but they ain't going to go down. So what's to say they don't put all their emphasis on the cup? Do you know what I mean? Anything can happen in this competition. So
yeah, it's just that when you have to get to penalties against Paralimni, it's difficult.
Yeah, true, but away goals count in this cup competition. All it takes is a few away score draws, and a clean sheet at home. Shut up shop, and you're in the final.
Does it go to 2 legs now?
Yeah, it's 2 legs.
The quarters. Yeah. Okay, so maybe they go for it. Be interesting to see.
They might get a favourable draw. Who's left in the competition? Doxa, Olympiacos. No disrespect to them, but if Anorthosis get drawn against them, I'm sure they'll feel they can get past them, and then you're in the semi-finals.
Yeah,
quarters now. Quarters, yeah. So as we saw with Omonia last season, 2 draws against AEL, you're in through to the next round. So again, I'm not ruling anything out because they won the cup 2 seasons ago when they had a pretty average league campaign.
Well, you see, pretty average. They still got into the top 6. So... True, but you'd expect them to challenge. Yeah. I'm just trying to find the teams that got through in the cup. But it doesn't look like. Yeah, it's going to take too long for me to find. No. So there's a couple more things to bring up. So Apollon, they signed Godsway Donyo and Etsas Hussein. Shpilevsky confirmed that Aris are trying to sign Gogorian on a permanent deal during the last press conference. And just to end things on one of these great notes that I like to end things on. Apollon were fined again. Kind of everybody got fined and all these. Apollon were fined because fans without tickets assaulted a steward and entered the stadium.
Oh, for crying out loud. Why do they do this to themselves?
Only a fine. Like they assaulted somebody, got through a locked door, and got into the stadium without tickets, and all they got was a fine. Again, I go back to that image of the Last Supper of the head of the police, the Cyprus FA, and representatives of the clubs all sat along one end of the one table, being like sharing the bread and the wine and all that bollocks. Yeah. Drink this, for it is my piss. I pour it all over you because I don't give a shit about what you think. It's unbelievable.
Oh, amazing.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, amazing.
It's unbelievable. Like that somebody got assaulted and there's a fine.
Listen, we see it from like a highly neutral perspective, in the sense that if this happened anywhere else in the world, there would be ramifications. But we know this is Cyprus, this is Mappa. So we're surprised because
it's not surprise. We're talking about this league being a competitive league, being there's all these players, really good players that are there. We're trying to be like people need to pay attention to this league, so we need to hold it to a higher standard.
Yeah.
So stop fucking around.
On that note, thank you for tuning in. Kojo had to quickly jump off, but thank you for Kojo for jumping on. I'm pretty sure we've opened his eyes even more to Cypriot football, because all the stories I've told him in the past have just kind of like flown over his head, but now he's seen it with his own eyes. Yeah. But hey, it's an educational podcast. I'd like to say we're kind of like the Discovery Channel of Cypriot football. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Thassos, for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll be back next week with, I'm sure, more shenanigans, because it's non-stop, isn't it? It's non-stop.
This is Mappa.
Let's go.